pop. Gosh dang it.
What did you do?
This, I'm like a doofus over here, man. This is not going in that easy. Well, the time has come to do some brakes on my 2022 Ram 2500 Cummins. And unfortunately, I have to do pads and rotors because I neglected. I didn't listen to the squeakers good enough. I thought maybe it's just dust because it kind of came and went. So that, you know, and then out here, there's a lot of dusty roads that I often drive on, and so I thought it was just some dust in there, but it was squeakers. And then coming back up from Lake Powell, on the way home, it began grinding upon braking. It's a little tiny line. Probably could have just resurfaced them and it would have been fine. But the next morning at 6 a.m., I was leaving to go to Island Park for a youth camp and towing a side-by-side up in a dump trailer. And I tried to be really, really careful with it. You know, I did exhaust brake, tow home mode, I downshifted like crazy. But the last 10 miles per hour of stopping is pure brake. So check out my rotors now. It's totally cooked, man. Very sad. And it is so painful. I drove it today. I had some meetings today to go to, and it's just painful to hear that grinding when I'm stopping, you know. So there's last time I was serviced, they said that the pads were good. But then the truck did go to Alaska and back, towing a 24-foot box trailer. You know, empty going up, full coming back. My brother-in-law was moving back down here, and there's a lot of towing. It's a long drive. It's a 6,000-mile round trip towing it. So the pads, the life ended quicker than I realized. I didn't think that would have had an effect on them so much to be towing that far. And so instead of just pads, I get to do pads and rotors because I wasn't quite proactive enough on the maintenance. So I punished myself through neglect. So anyways, if you don't know how to change your brakes, you'll learn how in this video by watching me trial and error and figure things out. If you do know how to change brakes, you'll have fun making fun of me in the comments. People watching this to learn how to change brakes will benefit from people smarter than me throwing comments in and tips and tricks or anything else that I miss. The best part about a DIY job is the excuse to buy more tools. So whenever I do a new project, I pick like one tool, at least one tool to buy, and maybe I'll borrow the rest as my present for doing all the labor versus hiring it out. So these are just Harbor Freight, nothing fancy, but it was like 80 bucks for some 6-ton jack. So I thought that was a pretty good deal personally. You know, some of these things are like crazy loose, dude. Like one of them I barely even touched and it came off. So man, that's actually very concerning. This one's strong. That's good. But some of them are actually way loose. Ironically, during the trip, you know, he changed my oil for me, which it was due for when it got up there. But they also did a tire rotation, and they put my tires to 65 psi. But these are actually rated for 50 psi, and so they were overinflated by like 30, like 25% overinflated. But they didn't blow up though, so that's good overall. Yeah, not that tight. I'll probably go tighten up those real quick actually while I'm at it. Maybe I could have gone a little bit higher, but I am off the ground. So I'm gonna call that good, I guess. See if the tower can come off okay. What's crazy about this wheel tire package, it actually weighs less. I wish I would have had a scale. We just moved, and so I didn't have, my scale was packed, I couldn't find it. But I bet it weighs probably 7 or 8 pounds less than my original tire. So originally I had 20-inch stock wheels with 35-inch tires. And then I got these 37-inch tires on 17-inch wheels. And Method, they make such lightweight wheels. I mean, they have a 4,500 pound load rating. These are the HD versions of the 704s. But they're still so much lighter than the stock wheels that even though it's a 37-inch tires, more rubber, it's way, I didn't notice much of a decrease in acceleration or in gas mileage because they weigh less. So it looks like this bolt right here needs to come off, and then that one down here in order to get the whole caliper off. And this, I just had a bunch of larger sockets Luckily I had one. This is a 15/16 inch size bolt. And so that's the size you're going to want to have for this right here. So this is annoying. I happen to have just a really long version of it. It doesn't really want to, it has an adapter. It doesn't really want to go in without really tweaking on this thing. So that's super annoying. Well, plan B then is going to be to just do a crescent wrench, I guess. Tell you what, dude, that bolt is on there. So got some of this stuff. There we go, just like that. Well, I said, come on, as I was grunting to get this bolt off, my dogs came. But guys, this is, F this, dude. So I'm an amateur guy, right? DIYer. I cannot get these bolts off. I mean, I'll let this stuff do its job a bit longer, but I mean, mechanics, when I see them, you know, they got these impact drivers, pneumatic ones, and they're just cranking on it. And now I know why. So I got this little baby socket wrench, dude. If I have to, I'll just, I mean, I'll keep pulling, but if you have something better than this, I'd recommend it. They're on there pretty good. So the first step actually is to remove these the 5/8 bolts on the back of this to pull off like the housing of the caliper. Okay, the 15/16 ones actually come next. And so I got this off, and I had this little kit I got from AutoZone. They rent them out for free, basically, to compress the pistons. But this just slid off over the pads. It pulled right off. The pads are still there. And then I'll compress these with this tool. I'll show you how it works real quick. Basically, just kind of twist this tool in, and it just slowly compresses this piston back in. My neighbor brought over some real tools. Should make my life easier to get these 5/16 ones off. Yeah, these pads on this left side, really, I mean, they're kind of low, but they got definitely more life in them than the other ones did. You know, I mean, look at that. That's still okay. That's like, I mean, that's pretty decent still. So I don't know what the problem is with my the right side there, because that's a lot of life still on this one there. Yeah, so all I have is that really long socket. My neighbor said it doesn't have one big enough, but the long one is just too long with that breaker bar. So I'm just taking this bolt off right here so that I can have more room. That impact-ish driver couldn't fit, so I got the breaker bar. I got a better angle. Let's see if I can get this breaking loose. Oh man, my arms are, F that, dude. My arms are too short. I'm also freaking scared under this truck. If anything falls, I'm dead. Well, here, I'll just try to do one hand on my side. Oh. Oh my gosh, I did it. Yes. Heck yeah, dude. Just had to use my pecs, that's all, huh, Ella?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Well, that made my night. I'm glad I got that thing finally. And now you know, shorter bolt or bench press the breaker bar. It's good. Okay. That bottom one came loose a little bit easier. Yeah, this breaker bar is a lifesaver. So just know that these bolts are in there really freaking good. And so you gotta really, to have the right tools before you start, or have a neighbor that's just a real man and already dialed in, you know what I mean? Okay. Let's pull these clips off. So now we'll get new clips. Probably should just go ahead and clean this off with some brake cleaner, right? Because I gotta think of it, so I may as well use it. Ooh. Dude, F this. Is this that rusted on that it won't even come off? Like, that's a lot of hammering.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put some of this inside of it, I guess, you know?
The whole faceplate might just be crazy rusted on. I might move just now.
Dude, F this. You can go and cut it. I'll keep hammering. For all your first hammers like me, just hammering it right here where it's exposed didn't do a whole lot. So help putting this the oil stuff in here to loosen it was helpful. But I just kept spinning it and hammering it, and then it actually came. It broke loose eventually. By spinning it, it kind of helped just get more spots. Obviously, at first I hadn't thought about it because I'm a newbie. But for you other newbies doing it for your first time, then you should make a mental note to spin it while you hammer it. So let's go ahead and just clean this up. We're good with that brake cleaner, and then put the new rotor on. Shout out to my daughter's friend. My daughter bailed on me, so her friend is holding the camera. So shout out to Kaylin. I like these. These are nice. I like how there's coating. Now the coating will rub off on the face where the plates rub. But this part, it'll help it not rust as much, having this coating on there. So, okay, dope. Got that, and then gotta put the new pads on now. Here's the clips. I'm gonna open up all of them just to make sure that they're all the same real quick. Yeah, these appear to all be the exact same, so it doesn't matter. Well, no. They're not all the same. The squeakers are different. So which one goes where? Doesn't really say, does it? They figure if you bought the box, you know what to do with it. It appears that these clips kind of go in here like this. I kind of brake clean this off a little bit. And then these kind of, well, I bet they go like this actually. So the tab is on the outside maybe? What do y'all think? Probably should know that answer, to be honest, but yeah, that makes sense though, because why would you want it to be encroaching on the inside, you know what I mean? So I guess you just shove them in here, right? It's definitely hard to get in. There we go. Okay, there we go. I think it's that simple. You just set it in there like that, don't you guys? So let's go like this. One thing I do know though is that they told me to get this this grease stuff, and you put this a thin layer on the back of the pads for the, and then it helps the pistons not make noises or whatever, something like that. So I'm gonna get some scissors and do that real quick. My hands are pretty bad, so I'm trying to just get one of them cleaned off a bit. Dude, that's just like stained in my skin. Just so I don't get like soot on it, but you just need a little bit. Might have been too much. I don't actually know. But they said that the one pack can do like all 4 tires, so it's just a little bit of it goes on there. And then this guy goes back on first, and then the caliper where the piston's on, you know, those go on next. So there we go. Okay, and then kind of push this in, and then line up that bolt. Okay, perfect. Now let's crank the crap out of those, get those as tight as they were. You know, they're obviously supposed to be pretty freaking tight. I'll tell you what, dude, having the right tools for the job is worth it. If I would have known before I started that I would need shorter sockets, I'd have bought a new socket 100%. But I had no idea which ones I even needed, to be honest with you. Like I didn't watch any videos beforehand or anything, so. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty tight. Okay. I think That is gonna be good. And then now this guy. Okay, so once that's on, okay, these are already oiled up and everything. Oh, shoot. Dang it. I dropped a pad, I think. So I had done this earlier, but just over time, this is the brake line pressure. It popped the piston out. And so it wouldn't go back over with the new pads. So I think it should be good to go, honestly, guys. These all look intact. I put this little bracket, you know, the bracket bolt right over here. I put that back in. These are tightened down as much as I possibly can with that breaker bar. So I'm gonna put the tire back on, drop it down. And even though sun just set, I'm gonna do this other side as well, because honestly, I wish I would have began with the other side, because that had the issues on that side. I did the driver's side. I just seemed like the right thing to do it in my driveway the first time. It'd take longer. I'm out in the road as long, but I still can't drive the truck with this side done, because the other side was the problem. So, you know, I talked about how I was surprised because I didn't think they were supposed to be worn down yet. Life was good, is what I heard. I thought maybe it was my, you know, when it was taken to Alaska towing, like, you know, 6,000 mile round trip. Maybe I just wore the brakes out pretty quickly or whatever. But here's the clue. I cannot spin this rotor. And with the other side, it would spin freely. It would spin freely. But I cranked on it, and it is just bound up. So this is just grabbing it really, really hard still. And that's why this one worn down. I mean, that's the rotor. That caliper, it's just, that brake pad's touching it, and this one's just touching it. And so, yeah, this thing just, it does not, I'm pulling, it does not want to spin. But the other side would spin, so why wouldn't this side spin? Something else might be going on here. Let's go see if we can pull this off. I pulled these bolts out already, the 5/8 bolts in the back. Let's see if we can pull this off. Oh, it's tight. Oh yeah, it's tight. It's so freaking tight. Okay. Let's balance this up here. Extra jack stand. I liked having it over here as a backup, you know, my sliders, but it's too convenient to hold up these things with. This is getting pretty thin too, it looks like. You know? It's way thin. Super rusty. It just pisses me off. I mean, I don't know, maybe my Duralast ones are going to rust as well, but I hate seeing rust, dude. It's just freaking bull crap, dude. Yeah, now it spins. So there was just some pressure on that thing, wasn't there? Yeah, dude, it's just, look at that. The glistening everywhere from my rotors. Constant pressure. No wonder my MPG's been dropping a little bit. I mean, I'm fighting back a compressed brake the entire time, pretty much. You know what I mean? Well, guys, 12:30. Gonna give up for the night. So, as you can see, I have beat the crap out of this thing, trying to get it off. I've hit it every possible direction, just pounding the backside of it with this sledgehammer. Put this penetrating. I put this stuff just in all the screw holes and from the backside. I got a heat gun for a while to heat it up, to pound it. This rotor is freaking on, dude. Like, it is wild. I'm just gonna call it for tonight and let that penetrating oil do its thing. I'm gonna make some phone calls in the morning to some people smarter than me. Maybe I'll just get a whole new caliper and a new pin assembly or caliper bracket, whatever that thing's called. We'll see. So stay tuned, I guess. So I got this thing just now from AutoZone. Not helping. Can't pry. Do some more hammering and more pounding. And because it was seized, dude, it must have been so hot. It just got freaking cooked on there, like maybe actually like welded on there, basically, from it just glowing red hot or whatever. So yeah, someone I was watching said that sometimes, you know, these brake lines can actually be the problem, where they just someone get like a block or something in them and they become almost like a one-way valve, so the pistons can squeeze but then can't release. Maybe that's what happened. So maybe I'll try some brake lines. I'm waiting to hear back from a buddy who's smarter than me first to see if there's something else I missed. But well, I finally freaking got it, guys. So I used this heat gun on high. It probably took me about 15 minutes. I just went, heated up each spot between, to the point where I couldn't touch it without kind of by burning myself a little bit. Hammered it on the face of it. But I went through, got each of them done, kept reheating it all the way around, hammering on the back, spinning it, and eventually, you know you're making some progress if when you look this way, you know, if you start to see like a bit of deviation. So once I did, I was like, oh crap, this is actually gonna work. I just kept hammering it, rotate it, hammer it, rotate it, hammer it. I kept heating this up the whole time, and it's finally off. So that's how you get off a really stuck rotor, I guess. There's the back side of it. The amount of beating that thing took. I don't know why it was so tight. That was crazy though. No one that I watch videos of had that hard of a time. So I don't know why I'm the lucky one, you know, the least experienced and the luckiest. But I'm gonna clean the crap. I mean, look at all this corrosion right there, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna clean the crap out of this thing. Let's try and WD-40 it. Tell you what, that seems like it's actually pulling rust off pretty decently, man. Unless it's just some of the dust that I actually broken loose from scrubbing it, but it kind of seems like it's, you know, from that part. Be patient and go all the way around. Luckily, my Duralast Gold, they have like a coating on them because the rust won't be able to contact, you know, rust from both sides meeting together. You know what I mean? So that should help for the future, I think. Let's try and hit this part too a little bit, you know. Get this a bit cleaner too, you know what I mean? I don't love that that's all rusty, even though it doesn't really contact anything. I just don't like how, you know, it looks, you know what I mean? I don't like rust. Y'all don't like rust. So let's just see if this will scrub off a little bit. You know, everything that's gonna come off has come off, so this might be as good as it gets. Let's hit it with some of this stuff. Man, my poor street, dude. I was not planning on making such a mess, to be honest. Sorry, city. I'll try to get it cleaned up. Actually, I don't want that in front of my house, so I will clean it up just so you guys know. The problem, I still don't actually know what's wrong with my caliper, and if I can fix it, or if I have to buy a new one and have my truck sit here blocking my driveway and my wife's car for a couple days. These things, you know, they move pretty good, but this one, it does leak some air, and so it creates a suction. And so I'm gonna go ahead and I have to go to church here in like 45 minutes, so I have to go get cleaned up. But I'll wipe off all the grease, I'll blast out this part, the pins, I'll replace the boots. But that isn't the whole issue, I know that. These 37s, they don't look that big on the truck. Yeah, these sure are big when they're off the truck. Once they're on the truck, I mean, that does not look that big. But that looks big. Not big. All right, guys, different day. I'm back at it here with the brakes. I had the thought this morning that, you know, maybe because the caliper seized, I could actually maybe be under warranty still. I do have an extended warranty still. So couldn't get a hold of the advisor though, but I also kind of realized, like, you know, I took it off already. I compressed those pistons back in. It may have kind of broken that grime loose. They might work fine now for 1,000 miles, 5,000 miles, 10,000 miles, who knows. But because I messed with it and they aren't the ones that like pulled it off and could document it being seized, it probably wouldn't be able to be a claim against the warranty. I was gonna put it back together, but again, maybe be working. That also would just, in those pictures to the warranty company, they'd see like 300 hammer marks, you know what I mean? And then be like, what the freak, you know? Plus I'd have to, you know, that tire, I did the brakes and rotors already, so I have to go put the old ones back on of that too to take it in. So I was like, you know, it's not worth it, because I'm pretty sure it wouldn't work out anyways because they didn't discover it seized, you know. So but I got some new calipers. They were $300 from the dealership. And I saw some AutoZone and ultimately O'Reilly's where I bought them at because they were in stock. Some like refurbished ones or remanufactured. They technically, it says Duralast on them. And that's a nice little finish on that, man. I actually dig that finish. It's like a paint or an epoxy on there, it seems like. Let me go and open this up, I'll show you. Now I'm thinking because it says remanufactured, it should be like the original OEMs. These look like $93, but with a $4 cord charge, which I get back if I bring them in my old calipers, which I'll do. So, you know, I think $90-something for these, not bad at all. You know, the ones for $300, when I come to the parts guy, like, man, that's kind of a lot. He's like, well, you know, compared to the other ones. And he said, well, you get what you pay for. I was like, dude, these lasted 80,000 miles. These ones suck. So I'll buy cheaper ones. Now, I'm not sure what side I have in my hand. It doesn't say in the paperwork, but I'll just go hold them up and see. I did get 2 new calipers because you're supposed to replace them in pairs. Now, this was the other box. They looked exactly the same. I couldn't tell them apart. With the part numbers in the box, though, just say, you know, front left or front right. So don't mix them up, because I don't know if you can tell them apart if you were to get them swapped by accident. So, but it looks like it's pretty simple to change it out. There's just that one hose right there, that one thing to take off, and that's it. So I'll unscrew that. I heard you loosen up that to allow some air to flow through better as you're pushing brake fluid into it or something like that. But yeah, it should be pretty easy just to change that line over and then get it bolted on. And then I'll have someone smart, my neighbor down the street, smarter than me. I'll have him help me breathe the brakes and do all that stuff to make sure that they work. Tell you what, I'm grateful to be in this safe neighborhood because I've been yard saled out here on the street for like 3 days as I work on this, and you know what I mean. It's kind of funny. So, but before I take that off, I'm gonna go ahead and put the rotor on, and I'll just put this bracket. I'll put the pads on, kind of put it fully assembled and on, and then I'll move the hose over. I think that'd be the easiest thing, just to pull the hose off and put it right back on the new one. So that's the plan for that. Dude, I really like these Duralast, man. The golds that have the coating on them. I just feel like it's gonna last a lot better. Those others got pretty rusty and everything, and you know, don't look that great. Didn't come off that good either. But I like seeing this coating, and I like how this is also coated actually. Hopefully it won't corrode as much, unless these were coated at one point. But now this back here, it's just so corroded. I wire brushed it a little bit, brake cleanered it a bit as well. It's just a lot of rust, man. It's just kind of a bummer to see that. Just kind of lightly grease the back of these with this brake lubricant. Doesn't take a whole lot. It goes pretty far. Oh, that's backwards. Well, make sure you put them on the right way. Don't put them backwards. That won't do much for you, will it? Let's put this one in. Try this one again. I don't know if this is supposed to be this hard, but man, it kind of doesn't seem that easy, does it? The other ones went on pretty easy with the clips that came with the brakes, you know. There we go. Dude, F that. Okay, well. So, get the top in first. Pop. Gosh dang it.
What'd you do?
This, I'm like a doofus over here, man. This is not going in that easy. Ow. It got me. But it didn't pop out, so. Call that a win. That be too tight. This is pretty tight in here. I think it's supposed to be able to have a little bit of give to it. And this is just tight. So these, as you saw, were going in super tight. If you look at them, see how this corner is a bit protruded? So I tried to just, you know, push this over and put the top in first. And I could kind of put it in at an angle at a 45, get the top in and then straighten it. But it was super tight. And I don't know if the pads are supposed to have some wiggle room back and forth across this clip. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the clips in that came with the brake calipers. So as you'll see, the ones that came with the brake pads, that corner is nice and tight. Well, it's a little bit tighter, so I think this might work better. So I'm going to go ahead and change all these out with the other clips. I'll add that these clips do have a direction to them. So if you look at one of the clips it's a bit straighter, the other's a bit more aggressively hooked. The aggressive hooks go on the outside. So on this one, for example, there's the aggressive hook right there. You know, so the next one I grabbed happens to match up with this clip right here, because you know it wants to be faced this direction. Aggressive clip is on the outside, so it doesn't matter which clip goes where. So make sure you're watching for that. They're all switched out now. They all fit a bit better. So the test now will be if I can put them in with one hand, because my daughter bailed on me. So that was incredibly easy that time. It slid right in now. It's not in day how easy those pads went in when I used the clips that came with the brake pads themselves. Now before I tighten up these bolts, which by the way, these are supposed to be torqued down to, I think it was like 260 pound-feet, which seems like that's a big number. So it makes sense why I couldn't get it until I bench pressed the breaker bar. So I'm gonna put this in. I'll just kind of hang from it and just pull towards the ground while I'm laying underneath it. So I'm as heavy as possible to get that tightened down. But before I tighten these down, I'm gonna go ahead and move over the hose, because this is in the way of me getting in here to tighten that. And so let's go ahead and just get this out of the way by changing that caliper over. So this is a little bit messy to move over. Oh, hold on. So that's why there's two washers. I'm an idiot. I'm gonna pull this back out. It is dripping quite a bit, as you can see. Forgot that you have to sandwich them. I wonder why there was two, but then duh. So yeah, make sure you get both on there to sandwich both sides of it. Oh, hold on. So it's been a second. As you can see, I keep getting new pieces. It's dripping somewhere. So I think that in my haste for what was pouring out, which by the way, this is why we love Dawn Power Wash. That stuff's amazing to get that up. But in my haste, because it was dripping everywhere, I put the washers on, but I didn't clean off like I should have. I probably should have really thoroughly wiped this metal. There's still some gunk everywhere, so I'm obviously not getting a very good seal. And so I'm gonna take it off and clean it, and then put it back on. Okay, so as you guys know, I show my mistakes, even though it makes me look dumb, because that's what's the most helpful, right? So I did two things wrong. One, yes, I did not clean off the gunk around the washers good enough. So I took it off, I wiped those off, but also, I feel dumb saying this, but I also had it cross-threaded. See this right here, this part, it goes totally vertical. For some reason I thought it's supposed to be angled, so I had it a little bit angled, okay? This was coming off a bit at a diagonal. I don't know why I thought it was supposed to be, but that meant my hole couldn't quite line up. And so even though I did my best to put it in straight, it was actually cross-threading. This is supposed to be totally vertical, and this flat spot up against those two nubs right there, and then only then is the hole able to be fully, straight on. If this is at an angle a little bit, it forces this hole over, and so you're coming in at an angle a little bit, and you can't catch the threads quite right. I've even kind of backtracked until I felt that, like the click of the threads interlocking, but it couldn't go in straight because I had this hose angled. So just make a note of that. Totally vertical, flat right there. This went in so much easier this time. I could thread it almost the whole way with my fingertips. And most importantly, as you look right here now, there's not oil coming off, okay? So it actually has a good seal. So that's obviously the most important thing. This tightens down to I think 25 or so pound-feet. So pretty snug, but not like insane. It's all good to go. Breaker bar can come in now behind it. And let's see if I can, there we go. I'll just slowly start getting it cranked on there. Now I'm gonna come have a neighbor help me out with this part here in a second, because I don't fully know how to properly bleed the brakes. I think there's a vacuum type deal, but I am going to go ahead and just loosen up this little valve for a second. I pulled off the rubber boot, put it somewhere safe, and I did that mainly because I think you're supposed to. So that's why I did that. That way, air can escape a little bit as the pressure bleeds into this caliper. That's kind of the thought. Make sure that air can escape a little bit. I loosened it, and now it's dripping everywhere. So let's go ahead and tighten up this guy fully. And I think it's not too much pressure needed, like 25 pound-feet. Having that, it wasn't airlocked, so it was able to fill this up. Now, you always want to keep it clean so that you can detect a new leak, right? There's probably still some air in here. I'm not assuming that it's like fully bled now. So I'm still gonna bleed it again, but I think the truck needs to be on, pumping the brakes, pressurizing it, that kind of thing. So, but for now though, I'm glad to see that at least. So this is as good as it's gonna get right now. I'm gonna leave the tire off so that when we bleed them, we can get to it easier. So I'll get the other tire off and get this caliper changed out as well. Dude, I'll tell you what though, I'm pretty happy with these. Let me give you a quick little pitch on why I went with refurbished versus just new. One, being $300 each, that's kind of crap. That's a ton of money for a very mediocre brake caliper that, one seized up at 82,000 miles. That's like, I'm not impressed with that at all. So I'd rather buy something cheaper and replace it again in 80,000 miles. You know what I mean? But, when things are refurbished, they're actually like, sometimes refurbished can actually mean better than factory, because the factory, they're pumping these things out. They might do 1,000 units, and then they'll check every 1,001th unit to make sure that the specs are still dialed in. But there could be little flaws here and there along the way that aren't checked. But when they're refurbished, it's like a hand process, and they're like they're double and triple check to make sure that they function properly again. And so you almost have like better quality sometimes with the refurbished part than with a new part, because of that extra human touch in that refurbishing process. And so, for $91, I think was a pretty good deal. On the jack stands on both sides. Makes me nervous for some reason. I think it'll be fine. They're rated for it, but man, if something happens, someone bumps my car by accident, pushes me forward, I'm hosed. But this one I broke loose already. And I'll tell you what, I didn't have it tight enough, I don't think, because I didn't have to bench press it up like I did last time. So I'm gonna really crank on this thing now. And I'm gonna have to take these clips out and reuse those. I looked at this other caliper, and the clips are the same thing, they're just a little bit too long to where it doesn't fit that good. This one's off. A couple tips. Stools are not as good as jack stands to hold the caliper up while you after you pull it off. Didn't work at all, so that was dumb. But that's a decent spot for it for now, while I put the clips on the other caliper and can get it put on. I think I can do it all while this is right here. So, other tip is get a stool or something, man. I was on the ground for the first 4 hours of this job. Elbows on the asphalt, knees on the asphalt, butt on the asphalt. I don't know why I didn't think about just getting this is just an archery target, but yeah, get a stool, man. It's not so low that you need to be on the ground. You can get a stool. I said that I thought remanufactured would probably be good because it's like double and triple checked. Maybe I misspoke, because this one right here, this does not slide very good. There's not enough lube in those pins. It is just a lot of suction in there, but it just, I have to really kind of pull on it, and it binds up a lot. It doesn't move effortlessly. I have to pull it exactly straight. So I'm actually going to pop these off, and I do have some lubricant that I was going to return, but now I guess I do need it. I'm going to put some more grease in these pins. Okay. So that would just come all the way off, wouldn't it? If I let it, huh? Yeah, it's pretty dry though. Just put that, let's kind of balance that right there. That's clear. This stuff is black. But, I mean, it's what I got. Well, this is the right stuff anyways from what the store said for it. So I really don't want to have tons in there, but obviously there wasn't enough because it wasn't really moving that good. I don't know how much we're supposed to have. Probably not like tons of extra, I bet. There we go. Let me just move that around. Maybe I want to put it in the hole. A bunch of just scraped off on the front of it, so maybe I did it in the wrong spot. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'll put some in the hole as well, actually. And honestly, that might not even do anything. It's kind of put it on that lip because I can't really put it down in there very good. And you know, I can wipe off any excess that squishes out, which is fine. Honestly, it feels about the same. Whatever. Well, I'm gonna wipe this off real quick with a rag and put these boots back on. This really doesn't slide as good as the other one, so I'm kind of confused about it. But you know, like this right here this one slides great. You know what I mean? Just one hand, it moves really well. So I don't know what's up. I don't know what's different. This doesn't move that good, but I mean, I guess it's gonna be okay. I don't know. I'm not settled about it. So I got this little pipe cleaner, and I'm just gonna kind of wants to be one directional. Try some twisting action going on. Let's just try it again a couple times, you know. So I can't get all the way down because there's a bit of a nub on the end of it, but all right, well, get this part cleaned up on that edge right there. Now let's see how it goes without even putting more grease in there first, because I'm sure too much grease might make it have too much of a suction, right? So maybe it's supposed to when we have a minimal amount, but I don't know, man. It doesn't feel that great still, honestly. So yeah, I'm gonna add some grease then. So I just pulled all of it out. It almost feels like there's just a bit too much play. Like it kind of binds up, almost like these pins are like, you know, like 5/1000ths of an inch too narrow or something like that. Maybe that's what it kind of maybe feels like. Let's put some on the end right here. I'll just do the ends only because I know if I have too much, that won't be good either. A bit more than what was on there. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm gonna go. Oh, there's a brush hair coming off. That wouldn't help it be smoother, would it? Okay. Yeah, just not. There we go. I feel some play in it. Well, it is what it is, guys. I mean, if these are refurbished, they were OEM at one point, right? So, of course, they're going to kind of be mediocre calipers. I did clean them off. I don't like that clear stuff. Is a bit of a suction on these things. It kind of, when you compress them, they kind of stick to themselves. See that? So that doesn't seem cool, but there was another brand of these things you could get, a couple $100, but there's no pictures of them. There's no reviews on them yet. I wasn't sure, you know. And people, the remanufactured ones they're under the Duralast brand, but they say remanufactured. They had some good reviews on them, you know, and so I went for it. But I don't know, it's just not as smooth as the other one was. It's not too bad. It's a bit better now. Well, we're gonna call that good. These clips, I switched them over as well from those other ones because they were also too long on that corner. And then these are the, I mean, I put these on already, but all this crap on them. I'm just gonna wipe them off, and I'm just gonna re-lube them and just start fresh. And while I'm at it too, you know, the other hub, I like really thoroughly clean that one. This one, I didn't really think to do that, and so I'm gonna pull off this rotor and really kind of wash and scrub this hub as well. So I think I'm gonna put some WD-40 on this actually. Like, what the heck? I mean, come on, Ram. I mean, maybe they all do this. This is bull crap though, dude. This is a pretty important section, you know. Why wasn't this dipped in that rust preventer when how the frame is, you know what I mean? I don't know. There's a lot of crap coming off here actually. My question though again is, do we you know, oil up to prevent rust? I mean, if this was cast iron, that's what I would do. If it doesn't matter, let me know so other people can see. But to me, I mean, probably just get, you know, eventually gotta get washed off, right? I mean, I'm sure like little pieces of soap, the car wash, get back in here and stuff, but I just wipe off the extra, you know. I don't think we want tons on there. Just a thin little layer, right? It's nice all that brown coming off though. I like seeing all that extra rust coming off from rubbing it, you know, with that oil. But these are both kind of hand tightened, and then I'm these ones because you know, up tightens it. These ones I'll be able to lay under the truck and kind of bench press that bar up, and this isn't going to be in the way where it's at, how it was on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and just fully tighten these right now, and then I'll move that this line over. All right. Yep. Okay. Yeah. I got my daughter to film for me. It wasn't going to work very good one-handed. I did also. All right. Phone died as I was doing it, but it doesn't matter because, I mean, y'all see what it's doing is, right? So I moved that over. This was a lot smoother this time. I lost a lot less fluid. You know, let this bleed out for a little bit, and I put this bolt on back here. Now, the one lesson I learned was my caliper was up here, right? And I pulled the hose off it and moved it over. I didn't think about the fact that, you know, so this, I put the screw in it, but this is full of fluid. So when I pulled it, when I picked it up, it had dumped all over the rotor. So I brake cleaned it, scrubbed it really good with that rag. But you want to be careful, I guess, if you're picking these things up after you, just to move them or whatever. You might just dump that on yourself or all over the brakes, which wouldn't be good. So just, I guess, keep an eye on that thing. So I've done as much as I can until my buddy comes. But it's easier with two people. So one person can be watching to say, okay, all the bubbles are out, and then they can close it off or whatever. So I'm just gonna get my mess cleaned up. Luckily, I have a safe neighborhood because I didn't put it away for a couple of days. But I have a lot of boxes, old rotors. I got, yeah, it was a mess, man. There's a lot of crap to do. So hammers and pry bars and heat guns and everything else. So I'll get my mess cleaned up. Then I'll just get the brakes bled, put the tires on, and I can drive. Okay, so the brakes are bled. I'll describe that process for those who are not familiar with it, so you can do it yourselves. I did not film bleeding brakes for two reasons. One, I would have been shy anyways. My neighbor was helping me, and if I was a big famous YouTuber, maybe I'd have more confidence. But a little small dorky channel, then I get shy still in front of people when I'm making videos, and my phone was dead anyways, so there's that too. So, but basically, to give you guys a rundown real fast, for those of you who don't know how to bleed brakes, it takes two people. One person is right here with this wrench. When you crack this open, it kind of flows out, how y'all saw earlier. So you keep it closed. Someone gets in the cab, they pump the brakes. You know, they kind of pump the brakes, and each time you pump them, they'll stop a bit higher up. And then on the third one, you just kind of hold it, and then you crack this open, and then the fluid will squirt out the pedal just kind of just go to the floor. Hold it for a few seconds, and then you close this, pump it again, 1, 2, 3, hold it, push it and hold, crack this, it goes to the floor. We did that like about 3, maybe 4 times per side, you know, to get it until there was no bubbles coming out. For reference, right there you can see that's how much came out. So not a whole lot. But what is really weird though is that's like an amber colored fluid. And as of this store, you know, this it takes .3 brake fluid, and I got that and I opened it up, and it's like it's clear and is almost like a watery consistency versus an oily consistency. So kind of confused about that. I mean, I put it in. I had faith. I poured it in the brake fluid thing, but it is kind of weird. Yeah. I hope I didn't get scammed and, you know, someone put water in the bucket instead for whatever reason in the factory. But anyways, so and for you guys who don't know, this one right here is the brake fluid reservoir. So it definitely was draining a little bit. It was about half a bit between the max and the min when we were done bleeding it. So one of the small bottles of brake fluid topped it off, and now it's good to go. So I'll tell you what, man, 37, 12, 50, 17s are ginormous when they're off the truck, dude. They're so big off the truck. And the second they go on the truck, dude, they shrink to like 33s. I don't understand it, man. Well, Cohen has so much faith in me, he wanted to come with me to test out my brakes, make sure that they work. So, hey, show me the box real quick, Cohen. So, next video, and by the way, they work great. Dude, they grab amazing. I love having new brakes, actually. Next video is about my CCV. So I had not even heard of a CCV. That stands for crankcase ventilation filter. It sits on top of the motor, and it's supposed to get changed at like 67,000 miles or whatever, and I'm at 82. And they say that if you haven't kept up on it, then you'll lose performance. Air doesn't pass through it very well. So I'm really hoping that that's the reason why my engine has been sluggish as well. Because I definitely feel a loss of power and performance, a decrease in gas mileage lately. So after I replace that here in a few days, I'm going to cut apart the old filters. It's in a plastic casing. I'm going to cut it apart to look inside of it and see just what it looks like, how much soot is in there, and that kind of thing. So, but I hope that this video was helpful. I'm not a mechanic, so it was fun to figure it out. And, you know, make some mistakes, but overall, I mean, they work, and I did a good job in the end. So, definitely was a lot of work though, man, especially out in the street. Like, it was not always easy, and didn't know what I was getting into with that seized rotor problem or seized caliper problem and everything. So, yeah, it's been fun doing some DIY stuff. I love doing DIY stuff, you know, the brakes. I did a half bath recently. I fixed my AC all by myself, balanced a couple of retaining walls and some grape trellises. So, yeah, it's been a fun little kick for sure. And I don't plan on stopping. So, anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys next video.